Looks like we got Frank.
Yep. And here
There's
comes
Mary.
Mary.
Okay.
Then just Chris, but otherwise, I mean, we're good to go. 7 o'clock.
Yep.
At 7. Yep.
Just turned 7. Okay. All right. Good evening. This is Brookfield zoning meeting, October 22nd at 7 p.m. held via Zoom. And tonight we have myself, Leslie Ruggiero, Kurt Timmerman, Mary Capiello, and Francis Kwok as our commissioners. Did I miss anyone, Fran?
No.
All right. And do I have a motion on the previous minutes meetings? I can't make it. I wasn't there.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of our last meeting, which was 2 weeks ago,
October 8th.
October 8th.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
And Commissioner Delia has arrived too.
Yes, I just see that. Okay.
Sorry, folks, that I was
All
late.
good. No.
No problem. Just the minutes. All right,
Okay.
Fran, you're up.
Okay, 84 Laurel Hill Road, the Fedora residence. It was on, I got a complaint about it. I spoke to the homeowner this week. He's in the process of cleaning the property all up. He got rid of the boat. He cut it all up. The only thing left is a trailer there and some debris. He still has some debris in front of the house. He's informed me that he's going to be doing a tag sale. But again, he did call on the 20th and he's working on cleaning the property. So I had to give him a little more time on that one. 4 Deer Run Road. Again, there was another blight complaint regarding an old abandoned boat that was damaged during the, I guess, the macro burst. The owner has moved the boat out. He's looking to get the motor out. He says the motor's still good. He wants to try to save that. And then he asked for 30 days from the 7th to give him to get the motor out and get the boat out of there. So I didn't see that as a problem. 823 Federal Road, CPD Properties. This is where the Perico gas tank is, the Shell station, I believe, at the Four Corners. I did send them a notice of violation because the cage is not approved. It needs to go through the zoning commission for site plan approval in TCD. I sent a notice of violation on the 5th, giving them 10 days to reply. They have not yet responded. So I'd like to make them or ask the commission to move to go to a cease and desist.
All right, I make a motion to go to cease and desist on, what was the address again?
823 Federal Road.
On 823 Federal Road.
Second,
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
aye,
86 Obtuse Road South, the Saunders residence. This is, Eric, you weren't here, but we had a discussion about the kennel last week. The gentleman said he originally had 7 dogs there. He did call. We did have communication this week. Now it turns out he has 8 dogs on the property in the residence. He's indicating that to me that 4 are his dogs and 4 are his daughter's dogs, who lives in a separate part of the house. So maybe we can discuss this afterwards. I have it on my list, so we can go back after the meeting to go back and discuss how we're going to handle this.
Okay.
56 Huckleberry Hill Road, Grand Racker, Brendanson property. Again, I got a complaint on this neighborhood anti-blight place was actually a disaster when I pulled in. The owner did finally call me and he is making a lot of progress cleaning the property up. He's asked me to ask the commission. He's looking for an extension until December 15th of this year. He guarantees me that the property will be cleaned up. He had unregistered dump trucks, campers, vehicles, tires. It was just a nightmare. But he's asking until the December 15th. I did do an inspection on the property already again. It is cleaned up a lot. I'm hoping he's just not moving it to the backyard, but the property, from what I can see from the road, looks a lot more, better than what it did before.
And Fran, my recommendation would be is that we would give him to December 15th, as long as in between every one of these meetings, he's making progress.
Okay, okay, yep. I'll make a note of that, yep. Next one is 891 Federal Road. Uh, Flavio Alvarez. Looks like I observed commercial vehicles. He's got a skid steer in the front yard. Um, he's got slate, granite, stone. Looks like he's actually running a commercial business out of the property. This is next to the one that we all looked at, or a few of us went and looked at on Federal Road before Newberry Village. I did observe 2 porta potties out there. So I sent him a notice of violation indicating that, he needs to comply. He's running the commercial business out of a residential zone in TCD. Looks like a landscaping company or some kind of contractor's yard. I sent that notice out on the 16th and I gave him till 10 days to reply. I've yet to get a response. Also, this is another one for discussion afterwards. After reviewing the regulations, he's got numerous amounts of chickens on the property. And from what I can see, chickens are only allowed in residential zones, not in TCD or commercial zones. So this is something for us to discuss afterwards, towards the end of the night. Next one is 39 Federal Road LLC. This is the mattress firm. I've been down there numerous times asking to pull all the signs in, the feather flags in. Finally, I just said enough's enough. I sent a notice of violation to the actual property owner. And I gave them 10 days from the 18th of this month to comply with the regulation or contact me. And I've yet to get a response. As you can see, it's getting busy. So 83 Federal Road. This is the mobile station at the bottom of Federal Road, at the corner of Gray's Bridge right there. I did cite him for, he had a vehicle parked in a non-designated driveway on the grass with signage. And then he had another vehicle, an old Volvo that was parked there with signage all over it. I sent him a cease and desist because he's been on the report a couple times back in September. I did a final inspection on his property the other day and the property's been cleaned up 100%. No more signs, no vehicle on the grass. So I'm going to remove that from the report. 196 Wisconsin Road, Butler residence. She's constructed a chicken coop in her side yard on top of the property line. I got a complaint from the neighbor. Went out there, knocked on the door. She's got the Ring doorbell. I know she's seen me there. I rang the doorbell, put my card in the door and a red tag on the door. I have a picture of it in the file. Asking her to contact me. She didn't contact me. So I sent a cease and desist order, giving her 10 days to comply. I sent it regular mail and certified, and I'm waiting to get a response back yet. So and that was sent on the 15th of this month.
What's the violation?
Accessory structure in the side yard doesn't meet the setback. It's right on top of the property line for the coop.
That's actually interesting because that's like a doghouse then, right?
Yeah, what it was is there was a shed there at one time and she constructed a big thing over the shed.
Okay, so it's actually something large. It's not like the size of a doghouse.
No, it's large. Yeah. So, and then 41 AC Core Road. I went to a cease and desist on this one. This was an older one back in July. Alice and I had gone out there because we received an encroachment complaint. We went out there and she's running a tree business out there, Neary Tree Company. I told her when we went out there back in July that the trucks had to be out of there. It wasn't a permitted use in the zone. Again, this is the second time that we've been out there for the same thing, complaint. Went back out there again on the 14th of this month and tree trucks are still out there. So I went to a cease and desist order. She did call yesterday indicating the trucks are out of there. I have not yet been out there to take a look, but I will follow up and have a report for the commission at the next meeting. And that's it.
Oh, okay. So short list this week.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
All right. Do you have anything that you needed to add to it at all, Fran, or no?
No.
All right. Save the rest for the end. Okay. All right. So we're on to the continued public hearings. So it's 30-35 Woodview Drive, application Z-20-88, which the public hearing was open last meeting on October 8th and is continued to this meeting. There is 2 additional memos that came in. One is a letter dated to me, Eric Cook, Chairman, dated October 22nd, 2020. Public hearing, Woodview Drive proposed zone change 33-35. Update, I realize I copied the letter from Victor Skip Bucci in and sent it as is and did not include our comments. It was not my intent to send this in as if it was my own words. I look to use this as a reference to the work that Mr. Bucci gained from his research of the concerns with the proposed zone change for the designated 30-35 Woodview Drive property. What I want to identify is that my wife and I are concerned that the change to the zone for this piece of property would potentially create a strain to the resources in the area, such as for septic and water supply, as most of the homes in this area have had problems with their septic systems and ours having to be redone. When the home was purchased, this would add more stress to the systems. Trying to build another house onto the property, which is the obvious reason for changing the zoning so that the property can be split again, does not make sense. And the space that is there, not only because of the shape of the property, but it will most likely require variances in order to build a house, get a driveway into the space, install a septic, and to drill a well and to still leave space between the houses adjacent. We do love our neighborhood, but the removal of all the trees on that property has opened up views into our neighbors' backyards, which were nicely hidden by the woods, and then putting a large-scale house onto that property would then crowd the space and look at the neighborhood. And it goes on for another 2 pages. So I know that all the commissioners have received it, and this is on file at the land records for anybody in the audience that wants to continue to read. But basically, that was the gist of the email, that they're against it. Then we have another one dated October 22nd, 2020, from law offices of Dana D'Angelo to Chairman Cook, Zoning Commission, regards 30-35 Woodview Drive, application Z-20-88. Chairman Cook, as you're aware, this office represents Pete Doughty, the owner of 33-35 Woodview Drive, Brookfield, Connecticut. Please accept this letter as a supplement to my letter dated October 7, 2020. There are 3 additional facts questions regarding Woodview Drive I believe are relevant to this application. 1, 23 Woodview is greater than 40,000 square feet in size and is designated R15. Why did it receive the R15 zone change when it met the requirement of R40? 2, Mr. Macaro, who spoke at length last meeting against this application, owns 14 and 16 Woodview Drive. Both lots are zoned R15. If these lots were merged like 33-35, they met the requirements of R40. Why were 33-35 Woodview Drive treated differently than 14-16 Woodview Drive? 3, Gail Wood Dunbar owns 8 Woodview Drive, and Gail and Yvonne Dunbar owns 6 Woodview Drive. Both lots are zoned R15. Again, why were these lots treated differently than 33-35 Woodview Drive? To reiterate, 33 and 35 Woodview Drive are the only 2 lots in the 58 lot Woodview subdivision that not received the R15 designation. Had 33-35 Woodview Drive received the benefit of the R15 zone change, every other lot in the street and in the subdivision received, they would have not merged, and there would be no need for this application to amend the zoning from R40 to R15. That's the only page I got. Was there more to it, Fran? Because this isn't signed.
Oh, there was a page 2. It just, do you want me to read it? Dana, for the record, Attorney Dana D'Angelo.
And your address?
20 Woodside Avenue, Middlebury, Connecticut.
Go ahead. You can read if there was a second page that was not there.
It just says, for the reasons stated above in my letter dated October 7th and the legal opinion of Town Council dated September 24th, 2020, I'm respectfully requesting that the commission grant this application for a zone change.
Okay. And signed by you?
That is signed by me.
Okay. Was there anything else, Fran or Mary, that I missed? No? Okay, so Mary, if you don't mind, since you ran the last one with this, do you want to pick up and where you left off?
Okay, we had pretty much just, mentioned all the different mail that came in on this topic. We've had a bunch of people from the community have turned speaking, pro and con. So just like you would normally do a public hearing, everything went according to that plan. And we all just decided to consider it further and roll it over till today.
Okay, so did we leave it open for anyone else to speak or talk, or?
We had really pretty much gotten all the way through that process, unless there was anyone new today, because obviously the public hearing is still open.
Okay. Okay, would the applicant like to add anything that they didn't already say in the last meeting?
No, I mean, if the commission would like to address the questions that I asked in my letter, I guess the more I look into this, I'm just confused as to why 33 and 35 were treated differently, not only from every other lot on their street, but in the entire 58 lot subdivision. And it appears that there were other families that owned 2 lots that were adjacent to one another that did not have the R40s, the R40 designation. And I'm just confused as to why these 2 lots would have been skipped.
And I understand confusion. However, we just got this letter a couple hours ago. So I
No,
don't
but
think
it just relates, right.
I don't think anybody in this commission is prepared to answer those questions at this late time. Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
Not at this time.
Is there anybody else from the public that wants to speak that hasn't already spoken before? Do I have a motion to close?
Make a motion to close the public hearing for 3335 Woodview Drive.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I apologize. This is Jeff LaJava at 39 Elbow Hill Road. My camera's not turning on. My apologies. I do have a question with respect to Attorney D'Angelo's letter dated October 7th. It contends that the merger provision, which I know many of us in the neighborhood have raised, the contention is that that was a new provision, but it's my understanding that that provision has been in Brookfield zoning regulation for quite some time. And that the some of the other properties where there are, 2 lots, most of those lots are developed. I think the 3335 was the only one where it had 1 home and then an adjacent undeveloped lot that then by the terms of this zoning provision, again, which my understanding is it's been part of the zoning regulation for quite some time, would have merged. So I just wanted to point that out, just raise that question, and certainly I would stand corrected if someone knew that that regulation was only adopted for the first time in 2019. It's my understanding it's been part of the zoning regulation for many years. Thank you.
Okay, Attorney D'Angelo, did you want to respond to it or no?
Respond to that. Oh, sorry, didn't have to take off my mute. I'll respond to that. The original merger application did not merge these lots because it required a unity of title from 1960, and it was for lots that were in excess of 20,000 square feet. So it was exempt from the previous merger provision. It was this new merger provision which took away those 2 protections, and it required these 2 lots to be merged.
I'm sorry, I have my video working. My apologies to the commission. However, the provision talks about lots that were in unity, excuse me.
Sure, do you have a question of clarification at all?
Yes, it is a clarification that my understanding is.
Just ask the question of clarification then, please.
Sure. Does this provision, which relates to unity of ownership, I thought it deals with any lots that were in common ownership after 1960.
That
And
was
so in
the
this
old
case,
regulation.
the Penards then both owned the 2 lots, first in 1959 and then in 1964, and based on this provision would have merged at that time. Or on the
Under the
basis,
new regulations, that's correct.
but under prior regulations, there was no such merger provision dealing with the time and a unity of ownership? Because my understanding,
That is my understanding.
okay, well, I would
We
like.
can see that they're merged, so I don't know.
I would
why
like to ask, sure, I would like to ask the commission, just for purposes of, if someone could please clarify this timing of unity of ownership, because it does go to the heart of this particular question as to whether it was 1 lot or 2, and how it relates to the comprehensive plan and the fact that this.
Sir, these questions are directed at the applicant. We're not taking questions of clarification to the zoning board. These are only questions for clarification to the applicant.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have any other questions or clarification for the applicant?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else that want to speak?
Yes, please. My name is Victor Busey. Can you hear me?
Yes, and what's your address, sir?
16 Prospect Drive in Brookfield. I just want to go back to that provision, okay? According to my understanding, the Pennards bought their original piece of property in 1959. They bought the 33 Woodview Drive, okay, in 1964. Now, this is the zoning. I did this last time, so I'm sorry if I'm doing this again. This is the zoning regulation that was in effect from 1964 to 2019. Those two properties were merged. And this is the provision. If two or more adjoining lots of record, one or more of which are undeveloped and fail to meet the requirements of these regulations, in other words, the R40 zone, with regard to lot area and or lot shape, were in the same ownership on June 15th, 1960 or subsequent date. And if such lots taken together would form one or more lots, each more nearly meeting the requirements of these regulations with regard to lot area and lot shape, such lot or lots shall merge and shall no longer be considered legally existing as separate lots and must be combined and used in compliance with the present lot area and lot shape requirements, irrespective of subsequent changes in ownership. Now, to kind of prove that, the original listing for the property says, okay, and this is done by Coldwell Banker, okay, the original listing says 1.06 acres. And under lot description, it says may be subdividable. The key words are maybe. Now, in the Brookfield land record, okay, the vision card, not a card anymore, of course, it's a computer. It says down in notes, split to 33 Woodview Drive, 0.55 acres, 2019. Now that split is what Mr. Ainsworth's brief deals with. So I'm going to ask the zoning commission. I hope that all the board members have already read.
Yes,
Mr.
sir, this
Ainsworth's
is,
brief.
sir, excuse me. This is questions of clarification for the applicant, not for the zoning commission.
Oh, okay. I'll stop at this point then.
Okay. Is there anybody else that has any questions or clarification for the applicant, not of the zoning commission? Okay, do I have a motion? Kurt,
I make a motion to close the public hearing at 33 to 35 Woodview Drive, application Z-20-88 for a proposed zone change.
do I have a second? Sorry, Leslie, go ahead. All right, any discussion? All in favor? All right, so this is proposed zone change application Z-20-88 is closed. And this, which we closed early, we had all the way up to 11/12-2020. We may speak about it tonight. We have more on this, or we may not speak about it tonight for anybody that's here and concerned. We're going to be moving on to the next public hearing. So next public hearing is 5A, proposed zone change, Z-20-99. Proposed zone change for 7 addresses to go from the R40 zone to the MC zone. And the first public hearing date it can be is 10/22-20, which is today. This is a regular meeting of the Brookfield Zoning Commission. At this point in our agenda, we have scheduled a public hearing concerning the application of application Z-20-99. I already introduced the zoning members earlier today, and everybody is still here that was there at that time. And we have the legal notice, which I'll read.
Holy smokes.
Town of Brookfield residents, public hearing notice, Nina Mack, land use secretary, October 8, 2020, publication on Town of Brookfield website. So this is public, it's on the website. The following public hearing will take place remotely via Zoom conferencing. Please view the agenda for dial instructions to reach the land use office with any questions, concerns. Please call 203-775-7316 or email flolly@brookfieldconnecticut.gov. Legal notice, the zoning commission of Brookfield, Connecticut will hold a public hearing remotely via Zoom, meeting ID 128-947-054 on Thursday, October 22nd, 2020 for proposed zone change Z-20-99, 7 addresses currently in the R40 zone to become the MC zone. At this hearing, interested person may appear and be heard, and written communications will be received. Copies of proposals are on file at the Office of Brookfield Zoning Commission and online. Dated in Brookfield, Connecticut, this October 9, 2020 through October 22, 2020. This application was formally received by the commission on October 8, 2020. Public hearing is only one aspect of the approval process, and is for the purposes of accepting factual information and data bearing on this application and to allow expression of opinion by interested parties. Subsequent to this hearing, the commission has 65 days plus an added 90 days if needed, in which to render a decision on this proposal. The final decision may be in form of approved as submitted, approved with stipulations, or denied. After reading into the record the correspondence received by the commission relative to this application, the zoning commission will present the application. The presentation will be limited to 45 minutes. The chair will then entertain questions or clarification concerning the applicant's presentation. We'll hear from those who wish to speak in favor of the application, followed by those who are opposed. Comments must be limited to 5 minutes. Members of the public will have one opportunity to speak during the segment of the hearing and may also submit their concerns in writing during the public hearing. During the segment, commissioners may ask additional questions. The bylaws of the commission allow only for the presentation of similar positions in succession and preclude the intermixture of comments pro or con. All questions and comments must be directed through the chair. As you're recognized, please state your name and address so your comments may be legally recorded. Please be assured that everyone will be given the opportunity to speak. However, the commission is most interested in hearing factual information relative to the application. In view of the time constraints placed on us, we ask your indulgence in not reiterating comments previously presented. After public comments are received, the applicant will have the opportunity to comment, and the time will be limited to 10 minutes. Is there any questions? All right, so this application which I have.
Couple pieces of correspondence.
Do you want to read the correspondence,
Sure.
Kurt? Okay.
Yep. All right. The first one was from Tom Beecher to Nina Mack, Friday, October 9th, 2020. Hi, Nina. I have reviewed the proposed zone map change and find it to be fine. There is no spot zone issue in my opinion. These properties will be rezoned back to a light commercial zone as they were before the comprehensive regulation and map changes. Regards, Tom Beecher, Collins Hannafin, PC. And then the second letter was from the Planning Commission to the Zoning Commission from Christine Murphy on behalf of the Planning Commission, dated October 16th, 2020. Please be advised that the Planning Commission at their October 15, 2020 regular meeting made the following statement taken from the minutes. Following a brief discussion with the chairman, noting that he concurs with the zone change, and B. McDonald adding that it sounds appropriate and will have no major impact, and quoted, a motion was made by B. McDonald to send a memo to the Zoning Commission stating that the Planning Commission agrees with the Zoning Commission's regulation revision to make the accurate zoning designation. R. Santiago seconded the motion, which carried unanimously. And so
Thanks, Kurt. That's it, right?
Yep, that's it.
Okay. So we had lengthy discussions before this with this application for the zone and regulation change. It came to this commission's attention that the 7 properties, 70 Candlewood Lake Road, which is Nimer's Deli, a 350 Candlewood Lake Road, the multifamily, 353 Candlewood Lake Road, Powderhorn Agency, 370 Candlewood Lake Road, multifamily apartments, 371 Candlewood Lake Road, Manja Manja, 439 Candlewood Lake Road, La Uva Restaurant, and 22 Allen Road, which is a residence, was inadvertently during our zone change taken out of an industrial zone and put into a residential zone. And to basically right the wrong, we're putting it back to the MC zone, which was closest to that old RC-41 zone. The only difference that we were seeing when we did this is that liquor stores were not allowed in the MC zone, where they are they were allowed in the RC 41 zone. So this is pretty much 99% bringing back what they had prior, missing that one use that they had. So this, we brought it to basically put those properties back, which are still in the same way they've pretty much been for the last 20, 30, 40 years, to give them back what they always had along until our zone change a year and a half ago. And really, so we'll do the rationale, the zone map change. I'll actually read it. The requested change is to revert the 7 identified property addresses back from the current R40 zone, the closest zone that would match the old RC 41 zone, which upon analysis of the current property uses and allowed uses of the two zones, RC 41 versus MC would be the MC zone. Current zone specifics during the rewrite of our zoning regulations, our zoning map, of course, changed too. During that process, there were a few unique properties, 7 in total, along Candlewood Lake Road and Allen Road in the RC 41 zone that were rezoned R40 as the RC 41 zone was eliminated with no replacement. Rationale, the commission feels that these 7 properties got caught up in the remapping that on reflection, we really perhaps regret. Because there were so few properties involved and their appearance on the map so minor, we believe that both the property owners as well as the commission members missed this change, which is anything but minor to the property owners. These properties, those properties thus lost any opportunity to expand their commercial operations that was okay before this zone change. We feel that if the zone change for these properties was unintended and the result unfair to these property owners, restoring them to the MC zone is a fair result. Do I have anybody in the audience that has any questions, clarification? Is there anybody that would like to speak in favor of this application? Does anybody want to speak in opposition to this application? Did any of the commission members wanted to add anything to what I said with the zone change?
I couldn't have said it better myself, but of all the 7 properties, the only one that I would maybe not return to would be the Allen Road. If you ever look at the actual map, I think Allen Road and one of these other properties, probably either 371 or 439 Kenwood Lake Road, probably used to be a one lot that was split in half, and they both retained their RC 41 designation. Because if you look at 22 Allen Road, it's a residential cul-de-sac behind all this. And for that one, that's the only one that sticks out as different. And I wouldn't necessarily agree with moving that back, but the other 7 or the other 6 are all commercial properties as they are and have been for quite some time. And the 22 Allen Road's got a house on it, you know?
Okay, so I mean, it sounds like something that we could discuss after we close the hearing.
Yeah, that's what I think. That was my only
Okay.
comment about that.
All right, so do I have a motion to close?
Can I make one more comment, please, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Frank. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I just wanted to specify on 350 Candlewood Lake Road, I know it says it's a multifamily, but it's actually not a multifamily. It's 2-family with a commercial entity with it.
So there's 3 uses in there, 2 single family or 1 single families and a commercial.
In a commercial use. Multifamily to me means 3
So
or
3
more.
tenants,
That's all. So
3 tenants, 1 being commercial.
2 family, 1 commercial, correct.
Yeah, and that's a good idea to make that clarification, because this zone change doesn't make them automatically a 3 or a 4 unit apartment.
No, because right now,
That's
they're-
not what is pre-existing non-conforming. Yeah.
yeah, we have pending litigation right with them right now. So
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
I want that cleared for the record, on the record.
All right, thank you, Fran. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing on activity Z-20-99, application for zone change for the 7 properties listed from an R40 to an MC zone.
Second,
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. So now we are on to 6A, outdoor dining. Chris, I know I wasn't at the last meeting, but the one before that, you might want to, or you were maybe going to go around to talk to some of the restaurant owners and get their feelings. Were you able to do that?
I was. And the overall feeling is that they're not going to be able to afford to get the proper tents, the proper heating into, outdoor, to keep the outdoor seating. They feel like it's going to get cold. People are not going to want to sit outside anyway. So the problem's probably going to resolve itself in the sense of, if we vote for, let's say, the second week of November to end it, I don't think we're going to have a lot of problems. The part that they were talking to me about is nothing we can do about, which is they appreciate the 75% seating inside, but the smaller restaurants feel that that's still not going to save them because they would rather it be down to 3 feet, which we don't have control over. It's not under us. So I'm comfortable making whatever we vote on tonight, giving them as long as we can. But I do know, as we all seen, we have cold weather coming in. The argument's made that with snow coming and we don't want to walk into a disaster. So I'm comfortable moving forward that way.
And here's the funny thing, Chris. I actually I kind of saw your point from last time now, where with the 5 feet division, that these restaurants are never even going to get to 75% filled. And I'm actually comfortable with expanding it as long as we can figure out somehow or get the fire marshal involved, where if they're going to do any type of heating, it's safe. I'm up for anything that's safe. So I've kind of went off of where I was before based on what you said. That's why I was interested to hear. And I don't think we need to discuss, or we don't have to rule on it today, because it's nice and warm today and we only got 2 weeks before our next meeting. But it's interesting that you're saying that they might not be able to do it to afford it. But I'm kind of flopped onto the other side where, I get it. That 5 feet separation between tables to 75% really doesn't help. And if the tent helps them, as long as we can figure out how we can do it safely. And I think that might be talking to the fire marshal and see if he would get involved with checking out the heating system. I personally would be fine with it. So I changed. I don't know how the rest of the commissioners feel.
No, I agree with that because, we're concerned with safety most of all. And, if they can't figure a safe way, then it's a moot point. They won't do it. And so like Chris is saying, it could resolve itself because it gets too cold. They can't find a safe way, so they just don't do it. And so we could extend it to the end of the year, but there's other factors that would restrict it naturally, So I would say we could do it 2 week by 2 week. Who knows? We could have an Indian summer through the rest of the year.
True.
Okay, so I guess we're just going to go ahead again and continue this on to our next meeting. Meanwhile, in between then and the next meeting, I'll reach out to the fire marshal and I'll see, I don't want to overwhelm the fire marshal either, with anything. So I want to see if he's on board, because the last time I spoke with the tents, he was definitely on board. He was wanting to do anything he can for the communities and the restaurants and the buildings. So I don't think us as a commission can do the safety. So as long as the rest of the town is on for safety, I'm okay with it. Mary?
Yeah, that's a good way to go. I like it.
Okay. So I guess we need to have a motion then to continue this out.
I'll make a motion that we continue this discussion to the next meeting, and we'll reconvene with it then.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right. So now we're on to new business. 7A, 14 Canada Lake Road, application Z-20-108, which is for 14 Canada Lake Road, Raymore and Flanagan. Is there anybody here on that?
Yep, you should hear Scott Milnemo, and there's Trevor Etkin and Adam Wazaleski on the line as well.
Okay, can you just give your address for the record, Scott?
Yeah, it's 7248 Morgan Road, Liverpool, New York, 13088.
Okay, and tell us what you would like us to, or what you would like to do.
Sure. Just to give people a background, I'm the Senior Vice President of Real Estate for Raymore Flanagan. Been with the company for 21 years. We purchased the shopping center in 2003 when there was a vacant Walbaum's grocery store. Since then, after purchase, we constructed our furniture store, which is a 70,000 square foot 2-floor store, and leased the vacancy to Candlewood Day Spa and Bye Bye Baby. Since then, we've lost Office Max. We relocated the Michaels into the Office Max space, moved CVS into the Michaels space in order to keep them because they wanted the drive-through, and came to the board for that approval. 2 years ago, we lost TJ Maxx. They went up to exit 8 for I-84 on Newtown Road, and we've been struggling to find a tenant since that vacancy. And during that time, we've had to restructure the Bed Bath & Beyond lease. They've been a struggling retailer, and like many retailers out there, have been hit by both COVID and the effects of online sales. Gratefully, in 2020, we had Newtown Savings Bank open, which we came to the board for approval. Just to introduce Trevor Edkin, just give you kind of a brief background on the tenant. We have to remain anonymous on the tenant. We will have Homeland Security, CIA, and FBI coming after us if we divulge their name, but he can fill in some blanks.
Hi, good evening. As Scott mentioned, my name is Trevor Edkin. I live in Manlius, New York, and I work for Scott Mildemow as the Director of Leasing for Raymore and Flanagan. Scott asked me to briefly come on tonight and discuss a little bit about the proposed grocery store. As you mentioned, the interesting and slightly difficult part of the task is that this tenant's extremely secretive and won't allow us to disclose who they are, their name, or the name of the parent company. Presumably, this is a sense of secrecy as a product of the company's foundation, as what I believe you're going to come to realize is as a technology company at the cutting edge of almost everything in our world. The concept is, of course, a full service, first-rate grocery store, and the company is highly focused on technology, as I mentioned, but also logistics and operational efficiency. They're incredibly detailed and thoughtful. Of all the deals I've worked on in my 15-plus year career, this one is the most detailed and specific deal that I've ever had the privilege and challenge to work on. What we're looking at and we'll be talking about is a facade that was essentially dictated to us by them. We spent nearly a month working with our architects, along with their design team and their architects, to adapt the existing conditions to their demands. What was most important to us was maintaining the covered walkway, which is something that we feel is an important attribute, with our New England weather, for our guests, the guests or customers of the grocery store, and the customers of the adjacent stores as well. And ultimately, have the least amount of impact as possible on the shopping center. What we're looking at is the level of detail that this tenant is insisting on. I think that we're all pretty lucky to be able to talk about adding a grocery store, something that's essential and pandemic proof, which is now something we unfortunately need to consider. At one of the hardest times in real estate that I can remember, we have an opportunity to talk about what will be a concept in its very first run. What I can tell you about it is that there is only one open anywhere in the country. And by the time this store opens, if we're able to meet their deadlines, there will be somewhere between 50 and 60 locations open nationwide, if I had to guess. There's a very large company with the ability to open stores at a pace that I frankly have never experienced, especially for a grocery store of this caliber. But I think hopefully that we can all agree that this is very exciting as both a primary co-tenant as well as the owner of the shopping center. And we're very excited. And we're so very pleased, again, to have the opportunity, and we hope that you agree. Please let me know if there's any questions specific to the tenant or the use, either now or at the end of Scott's presentation, and I'll be happy to address those.
I do have one question since you brought it up, and that's when you said the word technology. My one concern from zoning perspective is that, when I hear technology and, a brand new store and hoping to have 40 or 60, I'm thinking, this is a store that's tending to what's going on with COVID right now. So my question is more of a traffic type of question, or delivery vehicles. Are we going to be seeing a lot of delivery coming out of this store in either vans or somewhat other trucks that would not be typical of a normal grocery store?
In the way of, and I think what you're asking, Mr. Chairman, is are they going to deliver from this store? Is that the question?
Correct. Yeah, I'm thinking of from a traffic point. Is this going to be any different than, say, a ShopRite or a Stop and Shop that's using Peapod deliveries? Is there going to be any more delivery than a normal food store already has?
No, there's no current plan for there to be any deliveries from the store to customers' homes. It should operate as a traditional grocery store, just much cooler.
Okay, all right, go ahead. That was my question that just popped up.
So I would ask if Adam Wazaleski could share the existing facade, and then we'll move on to, because I'm guessing you guys have printouts, or maybe you're just viewing it on the.
Yes, we do. No, we have the
Yes, we do.
Okay. Is there a way to get Adam to share that, Adam, or not?
I've made
Yeah, I
him
can
a
try it.
co-host.
Yeah, so I can just click screen here, or share screen.
Yeah.
Okay, let me do that right now. Everybody see that?
Yep.
Okay, so
Okay, great.
so that's the existing conditions of it's the former TJ Maxx and CVS space in the plaza. It's between Paper Store and Michael's. So we're combining that that space into about 35,000 square feet. So we're going to take that beige gabled kind of dormer mansard canopy, and Adam, if you could switch to the other colored picture now. Sorry, I couldn't do this myself. I had to bring Adam into this. I would have screwed it up. So it's going to be starting from let's say the highest point, which is 31 feet 6 inches, which is the same height as the Michaels to the left. We're incorporating that. So that's going to be built onto the existing canopy with phenolic dark gray composite panels. These panels are like a plastic composite, very, very durable. They look nice. They're being incorporated in a lot of architectural structures these days. And then below the panels are going to be a prefabricated small decorative aluminum white band. And then below the band will be, the columns below will be wrapped with this same type of material, this phenolic panel, but it'll be beige in color to match the rest of the shopping center. And then each side of will be flanked with a corrugated metal pre-weathered galvanized silver gray panels. And then you have the same tie-in white band. And then below that, the same panel material will wrap the columns. The storefront underneath the canopy will be broken up with glass, mullion, or glass and a mullion system. And then where there is not glass, will be gray CMU block in the rest of the storefront. So all these materials are considered state-of-the-art building technology. The materials are long-lasting and low maintenance, and the materials are energy efficient. So this is the modification to the front of the shopping center, and we still have. I would like to go to the side and the back, but would stop there if anyone has any questions.
What type of glass is being used?
It's an insulated double pane type glass, commercial grade. It's clear. I don't know if I can any more detail than that. I probably do not have. Sorry, Mr. Chairman, that is the best detail I have right now.
Okay.
You want to flip to the elevation just to show the back along the creek first. So I'm going to stop here just for a second. So if you look at the very top, and it's hard to see because it shows the length of the shopping center, but you can see the facade. Unfortunately, at least on my screen, it gets a lot darker than it is. But you can see the height is the same as the Michaels and the CVS to the left. So if you go down 3 to the back of the building, you'll see a ramp. We're adding a double door at the back of the property that faces the creek, with a ramp for deliveries. And then if you go down to the one below, we are also then adding a additional dock door, relocating another door that an exit door with stairs, and then filling in 2 doors that are on that side of the building facing towards the Bed Bath. And that's what I have as far as at least my initial presentation of the facade and other modifications that we're seeking approval for.
Fran, does the elevation, does it comply?
Yeah, everything's good. Yeah, Alice and I had met actually with Sonny Roussel last week out on site. Yeah, we walked the site, we went over everything. Yeah, everything's looks good.
What are you planning on doing, if anything, to the parking lot?
For the parking lot, we haven't really made any material changes. What we're doing is we're gonna come up with a center-wide online pickup for all of our tenants, or at least all the anchor tenants, so that there'll be some designated parking spaces for all the larger tenants for online pickup. So that'll be signed.
Have you been down to this location lately?
Yes.
I know that at least I personally have noticed that and it could be just that there's no tenant there now. That middle part where you're planning on putting is been a little bit of a raceway. And since I see that you have the building in the middle, would you be considering putting in speed bumps just along that main drive that goes through all those buildings just to slow people down?
Yeah, we can absolutely do that. I believe I was before the same board for the bank, and we had agreed to put in some yield signs, and I know that was a concern of the board before, but absolutely we don't need any customers getting hurt coming out of the shop at any of the stores. So we would agree to that.
Okay. Anything from any of the other commissioners?
No, just to reiterate what you said, especially in the grocery store, I think there'll be a lot of traffic in and out, pedestrian traffic.
Yeah, we'll incorporate some speed bumps, and we'll try to slow the traffic coming down.
Maybe a couple crosswalks, Scott, too, possibly, or at least one in front of the main doors or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe Trevor can speak to it. I think right now the plan of egress is to come out a ramp nearer the paper store. Trevor, is that correct?
Yeah, Scott, and Fran, I'm sure you're aware, there's an existing ramp in the area between the existing paper store and the future grocery store. And what they wanted to do, obviously restripe that crosswalk, but they're going to reuse that ramp.
Okay.
Anything else from any of the other commissioners?
Yeah, one question. The capacity of the parking lot, you feel that it's adequate right now, especially since this is it will become a fairly well-known destination?
I do. I know during the holidays, the parking lot does get filled up. TJ Maxx, before they relocated, was a very high volume store.
Mm-hmm.
You'd say, well, why did they relocate? you know, I think it was mainly driven by the fact that they have all of their concepts up, you know, at the other exit with the Marshalls and Home Goods.
Right.
So they drove a lot of traffic. They were probably, you know, one of the higher volume tenants in the shopping center. You know, the CVS is a busy drugstore, but moving them down to the end, that I think utilizing the parking down by towards Federal Road has helped. I mean, from a code standpoint, you know, the code requires 592 parking spaces. We have 673. So I'm hoping that, you know, it's sufficient to handle this, the grocery store.
Thank you.
I just
Anything else,
have one, I'm
Yep.
sorry, I just have one question that, just out of curiosity, I mean, our focus is on the zoning regulations, but why is it that the store doesn't want us to know who it is, and how is the FBI involved in that? I don't.
The FBI and Homeland Security and CIA, that was my attempt at humor. I'll only do one show tonight. I'll cancel the second show.
No,
so.
no problem. Just out of my background, I was a little curious as how the FBI was involved in it.
No,
Go
no,
ahead.
no. That
No
was just,
problems. No problem.
That's
Go
just
ahead.
me throwing some humor in.
All right.
You have a great day job. Don't worry.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Well, I think from the breadcrumbs you laid, we can guess who the tenant is. So we can move on.
Well, Frank, you're a lot better than me because I can't guess, so.
Okay, I'll tell you later.
Store, yeah, thank you. All right, I'd like to, is there anything else from any other commissioners? No, okay.
Someone has their hand raised.
Oh. Is it one of my commissioners or?
No, Melanie's iPad.
She's muted.
I can't unmute people. They have to unmute
Yeah.
themselves.
Okay.
Oh.
Going once, going twice. All right. There's nothing we can do, Melanie. You're muted. We can't hear you or see you. So, all right, I am going to make a motion to approve application Z-20-108 as presented, with the stipulation that they utilize speed bump signs and or crosswalk for safety, pedestrian safety.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
great night.
Thank you.
Hey, Frank, you can send me a text right now if you like.
Thank you.
All right, next on our agenda is 7121 Federal Road, application Z-20-107. That's LED lighting on the canopy for the Red Colony Diner. Is anybody here from Red Colony?
I am George Marnolakis,
And your address for the record, sir?
108 Maple Tree Hill Road, Southbury, Connecticut.
Okay. And go ahead, sir.
Well, I had proposed to put LED lighting. I had sent something in, I think, to Fran. Basically recessed enclosed lighting that's going to be going around the canopy.
Okay, I remember you were here before us, and this is what we were asking for, is what type of lighting you were using, so that we just didn't approve
Yeah,
anything that could be out there as an LED spotlight.
no,
And Fran, this meets all our requirements?
Yeah, it's just rope lighting inside the soffits, I believe, George, right? That's, yeah.
yeah, it's inside the soffits.
Okay. And this is just for on the canopy or around the canopy?
Around the canopy, yeah.
Do I have a motion?
I have a motion to approve Z-20-107 for 121 Federal Road, Red Colony Diner, LED lighting around the canopy.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you,
Thank you,
guys.
George.
Thank you.
George.
All right, so next on our list is, I keep trying it.
Our calendar.
Our calendar, there you go. So next is our calendar. Let me find it because I had two questions. There it is. I had two questions on the calendar for the commissioners. July 8th and December 23rd. Who here thinks that they're going to be able to make or will make a meeting on December 23rd, the eve before Christmas Eve? Okay, so I think we should remove December 23rd. Does everybody agree with that?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, and typically during the summer months, we only meet once per month. I'm looking at, July. I see July and August. I don't have a problem with August, but July 8th, I think we're going to have a problem getting a quorum because that's July 4th week.
Mhm.
So I would remove July 8th as well.
That
Does
sounds
everybody agree?
Yeah.
Agreed.
Is there any other dates on there that people think? Yes, Mary.
Okay, well, first of all, some of the dates are wrong. If we meet second and fourth Thursdays, it should be September 9th and 23rd, not the 30th, that's a fifth Thursday. So it should be the 9th and the 23rd. October 14th, 28th, they're fine. November 4th should be the 11th, which pushes it to the 11th and the 25th, I think that is, yeah. So, but they, by accident, they put us first and third on a couple of those. So to get us back on second and fourth, we should have November 11th and 25th, which does put us, I think, exactly on Thanksgiving. And it should be September 9th and 23rd. So I'd propose not meeting on Thanksgiving unless you're bringing pie.
I got pecan pie. It's pretty good.
We
Oh,
just want to
great.
do November 11th then for November? Is that what you're suggesting, Mary?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
Even if
One meeting in November.
So we would meet November 11th and not November 25th.
Correct. And there was another one you said, I think it was September
Right.
30th.
We should just send a correction to town hall that we would meet the 9th and the 23rd in September.
9th, 23rd.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, November 11th is Veterans Day, and hopefully we'll be back in the office by that time.
Yeah,
So,
I don't work Veterans Day, and I'm sure Chris doesn't either.
no, and I think that maybe that's why the schedule was bumped around.
Okay,
All right,
so
so
would we
then,
want to meet the 4th then instead?
yep,
Keep November 4th.
And maybe the 18th.
I
We'll go back to
assume
the
they
18th.
worked this out with the other meetings going on.
Right, I was just gonna ask who typically meets first and third Thursdays?
well, sometimes they'll just throw us in a different room. We've done this before.
You mean a
Okay.
different Zoom room?
Yeah, well, no, I think, well, I don't know, who knows? I would think by then we should be all seeing each other.
I hope so.
If we're not, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll keep the 4th and the 18th then.
Right, but we're switching the 30th to 23rd. Is there, anyone have a calendar? Is there a reason the 23rd maybe wasn't chosen for some reason?
September.
I don't know what's going on at the end of September, usually nothing.
Doesn't look like anything's happening on the 23rd of note.
All right,
No.
okay. All right, so then we're having all those meetings that they have all the way to June 24th. We're
Yep.
getting rid of the July 8th meeting.
Yes.
Then we'll have the July 22nd, August 12th, August 26th, September 9th, removing September 30th, and in place is September 23rd.
Yep.
October 14th, October 28th, November 4th and the 18th stays, December 9th, and we're getting rid of December 23rd.
Right. And you want to do 2 meetings in August this year? Because we didn't last.
No, we
next
didn't.
year. We
We
didn't.
did, and how was that, Fran? I almost felt like we were starting to get backed up a little bit.
We were a little bit, but not bad, you know? It's hard to say. I mean, you have to think of too. We had the COVID that hit, and then everybody was coming right out after that, and that's.
Yeah. So
That's what
you
the burden
think
was.
we might be safe getting rid of August 12th?
I would think right now we can. If we have to call a special meeting, we can always
Okay.
do that. We have so
All right,
much
does
time.
everybody agree with that? August 12th?
Sure.
All right, so I'm gonna line out August 12th. All right, so our meeting dates will be January 14th, January 28th, February 11th, February 25th, March 11th, March 25th, April 8th, April 22nd, May 13th, May 27th, June 10th, June 24th, July 22nd, August 26th, September 9th, September 23rd, October 14th, October 28th, November 4th, November 18th, and December 9th.
Got
I
it.
make a motion to approve that calendar with those dates I just read off.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Do you have all those dates? Thank you, Allison. All right, so we're back to you then, Fran.
Hold on, let me get the agenda. No, Alan Rothman's here again to talk about what he submitted.
Okay, it's not on my agenda though. All right.
Non-formal, so. But I know after the discussion last week or 2 weeks ago, Mr. Chairman, you weren't here.
Yeah.
And I guess there was some concerns over, there was talk over the, how the CO would work and stuff. But I did do a little homework, and I did pull out the approval for 777, which was Brand Haven River Farm, which was the Renaissance project. And there's a stipulation in there, and I'll read it quick. It says, when the process was done, they would add additional 3,000 square feet of flex space on the first floor. The building facing Federal Road shall be designated as flex, which will be offered first for rent as commercial space prior to any offer of rent for residential use. The offer period for such commercial space shall be for 18 months following the issuance of a certificate of zoning or certificate of occupancy, not when the building permit is issued. If the end, and in the end of the foresaid 18-month period, the applicant can demonstrate to the commission that despite good faith marketing plan, all the portion of the flex space cannot be rented for commercial use shall be considered satisfied to the commission. So
Yeah, and I recall looking at one of the proposals, and I wasn't in favor of the permitted process before. I mean, you're going to more likely get a tenant when they can actually see and touch and feel the space.
yeah.
All right, so go ahead, Alan.
Okay, well, I have Neil here. Neil, you want to start or you want me to start?
Just briefly, I'm going to pick up on what Eric was saying, because he wasn't at the last meeting. Eric, there was a lot of discussion about whether commercial tenants tend
Can I
to.
interrupt you for 1 second, Neil?
Sure.
I'm going to tell you, this is the one reason I don't like Zoom meetings, is because I don't get to see your bow tie.
Yeah, hey, look, no bow tie, casual.
I know. I don't even know who you are. All right, go ahead, Neil.
Sometimes I don't either know who I am. But anyway, thanks, Eric. But as I say, there was some discussion about whether commercial tenants tend to lease more off of concepts and are into sites when they can develop the space, or whether it's a touchy-feely, you got to see what you're doing. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Alan, we thought that we could do some flexibility, that we could be more flexible on our proposal to take into consideration what the consensus was from a lot of the members at the last meeting about when that 24-month period should start. But interestingly enough, Fran reminds me, because I was involved with that Renaissance project. And the language that you just read, Fran, is very familiar to me. And there we did 18 months from the CO. So maybe that's the proper way to do it. Alan, do you have anything you want to add to that, or we should just add that to?
Let me take a step back. What we did last time was Neil proposed a law. We had a discussion about it, and we were told to come back because it's going to take another meeting or two for more discussion. So there were three parts to that law. One, if it's really far from Federal Road, if the building is really far from Federal Road, like the building in the middle of our property, there would be no need or no requirement for commercial space. If it's on a road like Station Road, then we would have 40% on a low volume road like Station Road. We would keep 40%. The area facing Station Road would have to be commercial. And then there was a clause where we put in, if we didn't have a tenant within 24 months of a CO, that we could then convert it to residential. And the first two pieces, the board seemed accepting. The
Yeah.
third piece about the 24 months was the part that I heard some discussion about. That sum it up, Neil, and
Yeah,
board
well,
members?
actually, Alan, I think we had proposed 24 months from the issuance of the building
Okay.
permit or the
Yes, you're right.
meant to be constructed. So the question was, is it better on the CO? And that's, and I think you may have not made a note of that, but we did agree after the meeting when we talked that we could we could draft this in a way that reflects more of the commission's idea of when we should measure the 24 months. So when with Fran reading about 777, the Renaissance, I recall that we had these discussions with an earlier commission. And actually, as I'm looking around, I'm not sure, were any of you guys involved in the Renaissance? I'm not sure
Yes,
any of
I
you were.
was.
You
No,
were?
I was. Yep.
Yeah, but you
I've
got a lot
I've
of new
been on
members
this for
since
8
then.
years now.
Jesus, you don't look that old.
Just because you make me look younger.
Thank you. But the fact of the matter is that I want to focus in on that, Fran, because maybe that is in fact the compromise language, and it's the issuance of the CO, and it's 18 months. So I find that helpful because it addresses a lot of the concerns. But the other issue that we left the meeting with was Kurt's suggestion that the parties look at other parcels that this might apply to. And I had the idea that Kurt was elected by the commission to do that because he brought it up. Did you do anything, Kurt?
No, I didn't. I didn't yet. So,
Okay.
But before you talk about that, I just have to say to Eric, one thing that I think is notable is their language mentioned about, may rather than shall. So it's our choice whether to say, okay, after 18 months, 24 months, whatever it is, we decide whether it met our requirements or whether they have to wait longer.
Right. So as a commission, and I like that language, as a commission, we can determine whether or not they use due diligence.
Right.
Absolutely. And Eric, there's some question of trying to define what that is. So, again, the language in the Renaissance is, again, if we can show due diligence. I would leave that language loose because I think the commission ties itself down probably more than the applicant does. If we say, here are the elements of due diligence, so many advertisements.
I agree
in this
100% with
for
you,
that
Neil.
paper. Yeah.
I agree with you 100%.
Because you know
But
what?
I'm surprised you're actually saying to leave it a little looser because
Yeah,
it
well-
does give my commission a little bit more broad to determine if it was. So I appreciate
Eric.
it.
And I'll tell you the reason for that, Eric, is that the market conditions change. What we think is due diligence today, if it's
I
a
agree.
different market in 18 months, you guys would say, hey, that was great in that market. The interesting thing is the whole reason we're here is that the market has changed on us. I mean, it's on commercial, it's flipped completely. But Kurt, I guess you and
back
I
to your
still have a
point.
job to look at other properties.
Well, thinking up and down Federal Road, as far as 300 feet go, there's not that many deep properties sitting
They're
on
not.
Federal Road. Your property, that Brookfield Village, is probably the deepest one there that is not developed already.
I tend to agree that it's more of an exercise, an academic exercise, I think, than reality. But those are the only issues. I mean, in reality, I think that we had reached from comments some consensus as to how to try to actually present the regulation. I'm ready to make a last draft, or what I'll hope is an actual draft for presentation, and deal with these same issues here, which are the period of time, when it starts, and reasonable language in there to allow the commission some discretion to determine whether the applicant has really been diligent or has, or has not acted in good faith. Because quite honestly, I represent the applicant, but if the applicant's not willing to act in good faith, then it's ridiculous to ask the commission for the concession. So, and on the other hand, I will tell you that the commercial developers of these types of projects would prefer to have commercial tenants than residential tenants if they could find them, because generally speaking, they're higher paying tenants and you have less day-to-day operational issues. So all of that mitigates towards trying to find them. Problem is, if you're unable to find them, and of course, the biggest problem here is the banks. We cannot get this project going unless we can show the banks that space is not doomed to sit empty for an unreasonable period of time. So that's where we are. I mean, I'm ready to give you a draft. I mean, obviously, anything that we submit to you, A, has to go to the planning commission under the referral, and B, we'll come back to you for a public hearing. So we're going to hear not only from the commission, but we're going to hear from other members of the public. So whatever I submit to you is likely to have some tweaks anyway. But on the skeleton that we're going to submit, I think that we know what needs to be done.
And Neil, again, thank you. I think that you've taken, at least what you said tonight, I think you've taken in everything that we've said, and you have very well explained the builder's position and the bank's position and everything else for us to try and reach a happy medium. So I think that these meetings were definitely worth their time for mutual understanding. So I do appreciate it, and thank you for that.
So at this point, I mean, I know you're all anxious to get to the presidential debate. I won't take more of your time. Is anybody anxious to get to the presidential debate? But I won't take any more of your time. I'm happy to come up with a real final draft and put it on the table.
I think you have enough information to do that.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah. Alan, are you happy with that?
Yes.
Good. Not that we really care because we're doing
Okay.
it. Okay. He is a client though. Well, thanks. That's all I have unless you need me for anything else.
No, but next time, I don't care what you're wearing, t-shirt, put the bow tie on for me. All right?
You know what? Judge Mintz on the Superior Court bench called me to the bench one day. I was really wearing a regular tie and he looked at me and he said, "Where's the bow tie?" I said,
don't recognize you without it.
One day. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Have a good one, Neil.
Bye-bye.
All right, Fran, do we have anything else, or are we going to go back to the public hearings? You're muted.
You're on mute.
Yeah, we can go back to the public hearings and I'll save myself for the end, so.
Okay. All right, so we're going to go back to 4A 33-35 Woodview Drive, proposed zone change. There was questions raised. I personally don't know the answers to them, and I want to take to the next meeting to at least look them up. I don't know about anyone else. So I would like to. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I agree with you.
Okay. So I would like to, we closed it, and I would like to leave it to next meeting to have a discussion about it. I'm not personally prepared to discuss it tonight.
Yeah. Now, everybody got that document I sent. It was a Supreme Court decision on,
Yes.
that towns are allowed to do that law, like we said, and they have to merge them. And the one thing about our law is that one of the lots have to be vacant and abutting in order for the merge to happen. So part of, I guess, maybe we'll do some research and maybe Fran can find out if the questions raised, do they have applicability based on what our regulation is?
Mhm.
And remember, this is like some of the questions that were posed tonight has nothing to do with our proposed zone change.
Right.
We can propose zone change, and if they can't do it legally, that's not on this commission, nor do we need to be looking it up to see if they could do what is legally. They're just, the only thing that was before us was just a zone change. should we zone change this back? Now, if we zone change it and they still can't do what they want, or they can do, that's not really I don't believe is the scope of this commission. It's just about that zone change, kind of like what we did earlier on a zone change. But I want to do more looking at the file that's before us, because obviously we closed it. We can't bring in anything new. So just at the file that we have, so that I can at least better decide for myself.
Yeah, and I think next time we can discuss, the rationale behind why the zone change happened and why these particular were R15 and that one wasn't. So we can leave that discussion later while we look at this new information that came in.
Correct. Everybody in agreement?
Yes.
Okay, so I mean, we don't have to do anything because we closed it, so we'll just save it for next
Table till next week. or 2
table
weeks.
for next week. Yeah. The proposed zone change Z-20-99. All right, Kurt, since you brought it up during that, why don't you lead it off then on the one property that you don't feel, because I'm on the opposite side of you. I think that, if we had it before, we should keep it all the same, but I'm willing to hear your argument.
The only reason I talked about leaving that one now is for some consistency, but the fact that there's a house on there already, it's being used as a residential thing. I just don't, and I suppose this could have happened before where the guy says, oh, I want to do some commercial stuff on this lot. And he has neighbors next to him that are actually in R40 zones. And they didn't realize, of course, that's the way it was before. Nothing's happened I don't know how long that lot's been like that residential lot. So I'm not, it was just for consistency to leave that one out. If you look at the map, all the ones we're talking about, to go back to MC, are right on Candlewood Lake Road. They're obviously commercial entities.
Right.
This one is actually behind. You have to go and take a couple right turns up Prang Road or somewhere else to get back to here to actually go into the neighborhood. And then, hey, that house is commercial and the rest of these are residential. So the only thing I could think that happened is that it used to be a big lot that was split in half and then it retained its zone on both sides for it to get that way, because it just seems like an oddity. But overall, these poor people, these were very small, sections on the map. And if you had an 8.5 by 11 piece of sheet, you probably wouldn't have even seen them. They would have been so minuscule. And I think when Milo and McBroom went to go rezone stuff, they just,
Yeah, just use the color crayon and just went all the way through. Yeah. And now, I want to put the opposite side out so that, then the rest of the commissioners decide. So I'm going to play the other side.
Mm-hmm.
I think our rationale for doing it, what we even read was that this meant a lot to the property owners and it affected their value. So even though there's a house on that, I still believe by that zone change still affected the value of that property, whether or not they use it or not. And if we're changing the other 6, I don't have a reason why I wouldn't change the 7th one. I'd almost feel like that's starting to be too selective. If we're not bringing all of them over, then was it really an error and we're leaving out 1/6? Now I feel like we're selecting a property.
Right.
So that's my counter argument.
Yep.
All right, Leslie, Mary, Frank, Chris, let's hear what you think about our arguments.
I go running on that road all the time, and that's pretty darn residential. I'm looking at a map right now. I mean, if there's a business, who knows whether it's legal or whether it's a going concern. But
Well,
I don't
think
see
it
where-
is. I think it's just a house that happens to have that zone and they didn't know it.
So then my counter argument, Eric, is that would this be a correction to something that shouldn't have taken place in the first place?
You mean years and years and years and years ago?
Correct.
I don't know. I mean, I
Okay.
think we'd have to dig up zoning commissioners at that point.
Because probably how something like that happened was there was a property on Candlewood Lake Road and it went deep. It was like a deep property that must have had that parcel part of it. So the only way I can figure that happened. But now it's residential.
I mean,
What was
if
the
it-
number? What's the number on Allen Road?
22.
22.
That's pretty far down the road, right? Alan?
It's a cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely residential. It's just, it's an oddity. Let's put it that way. For it to be RC 41 before was an oddity, but I take Eric's, argument. If we're correcting a mistake we made, we should return it to what they all were, RC 41 or MC.
And I'm also, just a little concerned if we just take one out.
Spot zoning?
Honestly, yeah, if we're returning it back to what it was, there's no argument of spot zoning. If we selectively remove one, regardless if, Frank, you're right or anything else, I'm more worried about a spot zoning issue.
Yeah.
Now, on that cul-de-sac, I believe those two properties were developed relatively recently. I don't think these.
Which
at the very end
makes
of
no
Allen
sense
Road.
from the Turnham. Which would make no sense for them to tear down and put up some sort of commercial structure.
Truly.
And, and my biggest worry is about running through anything that could possibly smell or look like spot zoning.
Yeah.
And I think it's odd that one's residential, but if we missed 7 properties, then we should remedy the 7.
All right, so me and Mary are one side, Kurt, Frank,
Well, I'm not
Leslie,
really
you're
on
quiet.
your side. I just threw it out there. You convinced me, Eric.
Okay,
The address, it's a pretty nice home. So it's a new,
it's staying.
right? Is that right? It's a newer home.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's newer.
Yeah, I'm inclined to just undo what we did. I don't know. I mean, if you guys want to dig up commissioners and find out why it was done originally.
I'll tell you what, the old commissions from back then did not look like this group. I think I'd just leave them in the ground.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about it because it's definitely concerning that that's a house in that situation. But the goal was to undo what was done, so I think we should stick with that.
And even, I do agree with you guys, what you're saying on the property. I guess my concern is more about than spot zoning. And I know that if we just go this way, we're safe.
I agree with that.
I think, Leslie, you read all our, how we operate. Am I allowed? Oh, I thought you did. I'm sorry. Fran, am I even allowed to make a motion on my own application? I don't think I can. It doesn't make sense that I can.
No, well, you shouldn't make it, no.
Right. Can I even vote on my own application?
Yeah,
I can? Okay,
I think so, yeah. Almost positive you can.
okay. It was a question I thought about today. It doesn't make sense. It's my application that, of course I'm going to vote yes. I put it in.
Well, yeah,
All right.
yeah. I mean, but there was talk prior to this anyway.
Yeah.
I gotta look at the
Okay.
bylaws.
Right. So I thought Leslie looked at the bylaws because I remember you going over everything and changing. Yeah. Okay.
Just one specific thing. I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
It feels like 3,000 years ago right now.
I'm sorry to put you on the spot. I actually thought you went over, because when you went over, I'm like, oh, wow, I didn't even know that. So I'm not looking at you as the expert. All right, can someone give me a motion then?
I'll give you a motion. I propose that on proposed zone change Z-20-99, we accept the changes as proposed for all 7 properties to be moved from R40 zone to the MC zone.
A second. All in favor? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
All right.
All right.
Chris, that was great. Chris, that was great.
Thank you.
Frank,
All right, Fran.
did you get that?
Frank, what?
Opposed.
Frank opposed to it.
Oh, Frank opposed, okay. All right, Fran, you said you wanted to go back to you.
Yeah, okay, I got 3 things that we can discuss quick, hopefully. So going back to this 86 Obtuse Road South, the dogs.
Right, all right, right.
Yeah, 8 dogs in one dwelling.
What does the reg say? 4 is a kennel?
Uh,
5?
no,
And is there a certain age of the dogs?
there is 4 months or older. Yeah.
Right.
Hold on, let me get.
You can have 3 for free.
So 5 dogs over the age of 4 months makes it a kennel, or is it the 6th?
Any premises on which 4 dogs or more, 4 months or older, are kept.
So it was 4. All right, I thought it was 4.
4. So he owns 4 and his daughter owns 4, supposedly. Then he says that they are not the healing dogs,
Service dogs?
Service dogs.
correct. Yes, thank you, Mary. Service dogs. And this is the first time I've come across a situation like this. I was always under the understanding that service dogs normally have to be certified, or there's got to be a certificate to ensure that they are certified. You know, service dogs. Anybody could say they're service dogs, you know, but without.
But Fran, literally, you can pay $20 to an internet site and you can get
Yep.
that certification.
Exactly, and that's what I know. Yeah. So moving forward, I guess cease and desist. I guess I don't know. 8 dogs in one house.
Well, and you're saying 4 is the kennel.
4 is a kennel. He has 4 of his own, he claims. And then his daughter, who lives in a separate part of the house, is what I was told by staff this week, has 4 dogs too. So it's a total of 8 dogs in one dwelling.
Well, it sounds like that the daughter's living there, so that's, you know, it's one property, but also by his own admittance, he has 4 dogs, which goes against the zoning. How did this even come up?
I got a complaint.
All right.
We were discussing last week about, you know, what do we need to do something, or, you know, we have a rule in place, or is it that a lot of people might have more than 3 dogs, but until someone complains, it's not a problem, and then the enforcement should be done, you know? So we were trying to figure out, do we need to do something with the regs, or are the regs good enough and the enforcement is what happens now?
Well, yeah, Kurt, this is a question back to you. Can they go to ZBA if they have more than 3?
That's a use. Usually we don't give use variance.
Use variance, yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I was hoping that, you know, hey, listen, our regs works for the most part, but then if they have a reason like service dogs or anything else, they can go somewhere else just to get special qualification, but they can't, huh?
Well, see, then, and the question is coming from the town clerk's office too, is she issues kennel license for people that are breeders. And if a breeder, there's, I guess there's a few breeders in Brookfield on Obtuse Road or Obtuse Road North, that if they breed the dogs and they can't get rid of the puppies, and if they have a male and female on site, then they have, say they have 6, female has 6 puppies, and they only get rid of 2, then they're technically still over the legal amount according to our zoning regula. So I mean, I don't know how to handle this. Where do you even go with it? Do we do it on a base by base? You know, just as to whatever arises?
Honestly, it is base by base, but how do we do that? That's why I was hoping it was like a ZBA. Remember, Fran, the condo thing where you're allowed to have underneath the 1-year-old, but as soon as that 1-year-old turns 1 year and they're supposed to throw it out.
Yeah.
It was our zoning rules.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's like, okay, this is not going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, obviously we can't tell people to leave or they got to move or they got to boot out the baby because, you know, these condos didn't have an extra bedroom. So under a year, they could stay in a crib, I guess, in the other room, but you can't put anything more. And that's just, it was nuts. And it sounds like, you know, it's not as bad, but you have it with the dogs now. Some people have good reasons and others, you know, run afoul. And
especially now in COVID, everybody's getting a dog. You know?
Yeah, well, in this case, this gentleman has his own training company, canine training company also. So, I mean, when I went out there, I observed all the grass ripped out of his backyard, or what appeared to be grass ripped out of his backyard. And he had the artificial grass down, and he does dog training. So it appears as that there's more than one issue going on here. Number one is the amount of dogs. Number 2 is he's running a business out of the property because it's all fenced in. that you can't even, obviously see inside what's going on in there.
Was it
So,
complain about barking or smell, or just that they saw the dogs?
no, the dog, the barking. When I went out there the first time, he told me he had 2 Chihuahuas, two shepherds, and a Rottweiler, and then he's got a rescue dog. So now all of a sudden he's got 8 dogs. He's got 4, and his daughter has 4.
So Fran, will the clerk issue a kennel license in a residential area?
She does.
She does. Okay,
Kennel
so
license or a breeder
after the last meeting, I did some very cursory research, and I think one was in Iowa and somewhere else in this country, that 2 specific municipalities would only allow kennels in business districts. And they got around that. They said, no, you want to run a kennel or a training facility, it couldn't be in the residential areas at all. So Kurt, going back to you, is this a regulation issue that potentially needs to
Well,
be
we
looked
do
at?
have a regulation. Kennels are only allowed in the commercial district.
Only,
And you
okay.
have to
Yeah,
have
this is breeding is different.
Is
Well,
it a breeder's license? Because,
in one of these examples, they lumped breeding in with kennels.
oh,
So
yeah, because
We don't.
consider, I know people who breed puppies, and that's why the 4 months is there. They should all be gone by 4
Yes.
months. And so they're
Ideally.
down to under 4,
sure.
So back to you, Fran. Was it a breeder's license or a kennel license the town clerk gives?
Kennel license.
Kennel license.
That's what I was told, and I know we discussed. She'd given me the agricultural number, and I know Tony was looking into it because he was really shocked by it. But then
Yeah,
he was looking at it too.
we got a little inconsistency going here.
Yeah, we do. We do.
Though if you layer the 2 together, yeah, you can have a kennel license, but it's got to be in a commercial zone with 5 acres. I mean, that's what the regs say.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons, the barking, you can't have anything closer than, I think it says 150 feet or something, 150 feet from any property line. That's in section 4.4I.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
What I find interesting though is that we say that you can have 1 cow, 1 livestock or something per square feet or acreage or half acres,
right.
but we don't give anything to people that might have 10 acres of land. We don't allow them to have any more pets, domestic animals.
Hmm.
I don't know, understand what the rationale is behind that one. If we're,
I
allowing,
guess pets can roam their entire property.
so can a cow.
No, the cows are supposed to be left a certain distance away from the property line. Just like kennels, you can't come within a certain distance for the smell and everything else, and buildings and all that. Just
Yeah.
for the neighbors.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like we have a rule. It works 95% of the time. But I mean, even with, going back to this guy, Fran, I still think 8 dogs in one place. I don't think where this commission will ever land going, that's okay.
Right.
Yeah.
But, is having 4 dogs not the right thing? Because we're saying you can't have 4, you can have 3.
3. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know where the 4 came. I mean, been there forever, so I don't know
Yeah.
who determined 4 versus 3. Maybe they thought 5 is a lot, 3 is fine, so maybe we'll set it at 4.
I can call around to other towns and see how other towns handle it. If the amount's the same or how they do the licensing and the kennels and stuff. But I mean, I think they're all probably going to be the same basically.
Yeah.
'Cause I think the 4 is a state number, which then the state gets involved or the Department of Agriculture or somebody gets involved.
If that's the case, that's really easy. Then our regs are our regs,
Yeah.
4 is it. If it's a state thing, it's the state thing.
Plus, this guy's doubling down on having a commercial enterprise there in his backyard.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Either way, this guy's wrong. He's got 8. I don't think there's anything we're gonna do, with 8 dogs running around. That's, it's a pack.
It is. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's not like we're doing sled dogs here.
Hmm.
Not yet.
Yeah. No, I like this weather, Fran. Don't curse us.
Okay, that's one thing. So we're good on that. So, the other one is this 891 Federal Road, Alvarez. It's in the TCD, next to Newberry Village.
Yeah.
I did get a call from Newberry Village a while ago about the chickens. I guess somebody had seen, Kurt, I think you had said you seen one walking down the road the other day.
I did. Just, taking his time, going down the road.
Yeah. And me and Frank saw it there too. When we were there, Frank, remember? Remember,
So-
Frank, when we were there, we saw the chickens next door?
I'm sorry, where, Eric?
Remember when both me and you met Fran to look at the one property that was putting in the
Yes,
building
yes.
next door? Those
Yes.
were the chickens over there.
Okay,
That's the ones we're talking about, yeah.
882 Federal Road, right, right.
Yeah,
right.
and I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm concerned with chickens in that area because of cars. It's like when a car sees a chick, or a car sees a chicken, whatever. The chicken's crossing the road type of deal. That's a swerve. They're swerving. Nobody's running over the chicken.
No, they're not. No, but are chickens allowed in the TCD? And I don't think they are. They're only in our regulations. It only indicates that they're allowed in residential zones. So what I need to do is go back and see when the individual bought the house. If he bought it before, I believe. Well, I don't even think. I don't think they're allowed there at all. He's got to get rid of them.
I don't think so either. And he would only be pre-existing if the chickens were there. Those chickens aren't that old.
No.
But that's just the thing, though. I mean, we did a lot in the TCD for the main fact is that it's going to be commercial. Remember the whole caretakers apartments?
Yeah.
You can't have this, you can't have that. That was to make the TCD into a town district. You're not, or more of kind of like not city, but more than the rest of the town. And here we're going to have chickens and everything else running around. That wasn't the purpose, and I still don't think it's the purpose.
Yeah. So I mean, when he reaches out to me, I'm going to tell him the chickens are going to have to go. So that's just because I did get a complaint from Newberry about it. So, and I'm awaiting another written complaint to come in soon. So,
And they have a rooster.
is there a rooster? Well, they can have a rooster because he's got 3 acres. Well, technically he can't, but he does have enough land.
Because he's in the wrong zone, right?
Yeah. So,
But he also has them as free range. They're walking across the road. That's a busy road.
I don't know why he did that.
smile, Leslie. I got two more things. A dumpster. The dumpster is located, and this is a question that was risen to me. This is regarding 5 Cherokee Drive in Brookfield. We had a problem last year, beginning of the year, with this individual. He had a dumpster in his property on the grass. He was using it as, I guess, dumping his material in there from construction projects.
Yeah, I remember that.
Attorney Tom Beecher sent him a letter. He removed the dumpster. Dumpster is back again. And the question has come to me as, is the dumpster considered a structure? And you don't consider it a structure?
I don't consider it a structure.
Even though it has placement on the ground?
Yeah, I get that, but if we make a dumpster a structure, think about all these people that are having dumpsters at their house to clear stuff. But it's supposed to be there temporarily. That's the deal.
Yeah.
But I don't consider it. If we consider a dumpster a structure, we're going to run into a lot more problems than just this one guy.
Yeah. He has it parked in the side of his yard, what it looks like. I was trying to get out there today, but we were short-staffed in the office and I never got out.
It should be more of a timing for something on that. If it's pre-existing more than X amount of weeks, then you can't.
Yeah. More than 30 days or something or whatever.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Have you asked him what it's for?
I've reached out to him numerous times with letters and stuff, and I've never got a response. I know he does his own carpentry business. He's a contractor. So I think what he does is he brings the materials and throws them in the dumpster at his house. Yeah. He doesn't put it in his driveway. He keeps it in the yard, and the neighbors, they don't like it. I wouldn't want to look at it either.
No, I remember the picture of it. I remember from the last time it came up, and it wasn't even a pretty dumpster.
Yeah,
pretty rusty, but I mean, like there is a pretty dumpster, but but I wouldn't be considering it. Definitely wouldn't be considered a structure.
Okay. All right. Everybody's in agreement. Okay. All right. And then I got a test for everybody. How's that?
It's too late.
Multiple choice?
Get ready, okay? So here's a quiz, and I gave it to the office this week or last week too. So if an individual has 5.08 acres, okay, the lot for the first acre shall contain 12 fowl, and therefore there will be no more than 6 fowl for every additional 20,000 square feet. So how many fowl is the individual allowed? And that's your test, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Wow.
You got it?
You're gonna have to read it again, Fran, or email it.
What goes on in the land use office?
So much.
Frank,
A lot of foul things.
Frank, if a person has 5.08 acres,
Okay,
okay, and he's allowed 12 chickens for the first acre, and he can have 6 more chickens for every additional 20,000 square feet, how many chickens in total can he have?
okay.
Yeah. And I what this is going to go over is that he's probably like what, 1 square feet over from the other one? Is that what it is? He's got 1 square feet. How many chickens can you have in that square feet?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if you guys know, but Mary was a math teacher. She's
Yeah,
gonna.
I will have
What's that
this.
number right now? I know.
I'll
Yeah.
put it on a whiteboard next time.
But you got to understand, this is from France, so it's not coming out to a perfect thing. It's now becoming that question of, are they allowed those additional 6 chickens if they don't have the next 20,000 acres? I bet you that's your question, right, Fran?
Or it'll
There's
come out,
only
you know,
one.
I have.
only-
something 0.3 chickens, and the students are always like, "Oh my God, you have to cut the chickens." There will be an answer next time.
All right, I'm good. That's
You-
it.
We have a motion?
Motion to adjourn, please.
Wow, please. Wow. Do I have a second?
A second.
Any discussion? Fran, let's discuss this, since she said please.
I agree, Frank. Yes, Frank.